Football tickets, they last chance, get it turned off. Reduce time. Any of the. We don't call them loser tickets here. Wow, loser, no, there's a. Loser.
Sorry, Joe, is the microphone on?
Is it? Okay.
Now it is. Thank you.
So welcome everyone. Good morning. And we have members, me, Sylvia, Mike Florio, Maggie Craig, Steve Smith, Jill Roaring, Jim Sacco, Beth Banks, Mike Licata, Larry McKenzie, Bridget Newton, and Katie. In person and on Zoom, we have Margot, Phil, Sylvia, and Marshall. And our guests, Chris and Zach, and as of April 1st, our two newest members will be officially members, which is wonderful. And may we hear from our invocator, the invocation, which I believe is Mark, which I believe is Marshall. Thank you, Marshall.
Okay, thank you. I want to share a poem, a Chinese poem related to some Buddhism. God will good will be rewarded with good, and evil with evil. It is not that there is no retribution. The time has simply not come. When the time arrives, everything will be repaid. The night of heaven is vast. Though its mass is wide, nothing escapes it. Chinese believe one day on heaven equals 1 year on earth. So sometimes we see some people, they are doing bad things even for 47 years. Maybe God is having a 47 days trip. Now the punishment is coming. I'm not blaming you. The United States is the angel of God. Thank you.
Thank you. And let us rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our Toastmaster, Phil Russell. Thank you, Phil.
There. Can you hear me all right? Last week I had a little bit of technical difficulty. Does everyone hear me? No response?
You're good, Phil.
We're good? All right. Very, very good. Thank you. Oh, my theme for today is St. Patrick's Day, as you can see. This hat is directly from Ireland. I did not go over there. And the reason I didn't go over there, my father told me don't look too far back. My sister went with her husband and they brought this back for me. The reason being, he said, don't look too far back. Being in the Irish heritage, I was listening to the History Channel. My dad said, you might not like what you find. And I go, oh, God, listening to the History Channel. There was an Irishman, he was in the IRA, and he went over during World War II to Hitler and said, look, Hitler, come on and join us. We have 50,000 well-armed troops, and we're going to go down there and invade England, which, of course, both the IRA and Hitler hated. Well, he went over there, but Hitler didn't do it. The reason is he found out that it was maybe between 500 and 5,000 farmers with pitchforks and a few guns laid in the dirt. Now this History Channel told me the real truth. What was his name? Sean Russell. Believe it or not. All right. On with the Blarney. And wait a minute. The word of the day. That's Margot's job, not mine. Margot.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's a good thing I sent that word with Mike because we didn't have power until 5:30 this morning. So I was a little nervous about being with you. But I did choose the word Blarney because it relates to public speaking and it relates to Irish heritage. So the meaning of the word Blarney is talk that aims to charm, pleasantly flatter, or persuade. That's why we call it the gift of Blarney. I'll be listening for everyone to use that word today, especially those who participate in table topics. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you there. And those of you that might not have heard, there is a Blarney Stone in Ireland where you have to lean way over. People have to hold on to your legs. You kiss the Blarney Stone, and then you are gifted with the gift of Blarney. Oh, my goodness. It's one of my favorite weekends, and I do make it a weekend. My wife, Chris, and I have planned quite a few plans for what's going on St. Patrick's Day and before. But let's move on. We have to introduce our people. We had Marshall, Margot, Jim Sacco stood up, and I appreciate it. But we do have one housekeeping part. If someone is willing to take on Yang's jester role, I would greatly appreciate it. I don't have any gift now, but I will have enough Blarney that I can give you a little yarn that I have my own. Let's introduce Jim Sacco, our master for the day. Jim.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Everybody's a little bit Irish on St. Patrick's Day, and they have a gift of Blarney, except Italians. We're just Italian. Okay, thank you. But I'm going to be the master today. I will be looking for non-words in all your speeches, your ahs, you knows, and just those type of words. And I will have a report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Mr. Master, thank you. Now, a little bit about the Italians and the Irish. Dave Licata's famous story. We settled in Lockport because we dug the canal. The Irish started digging and digging and digging, and they kept coming over and more of them, more of them. And then when they get to Lockport, they needed cement work. Who did they call in? The Italians. Great relationship there. I always thought that was a good story. Hey, let's go on to the grammarian. Our grammarian. He himself, our president, Joe Budnick. Joe, would you tell us what you're going to be doing there, sir?
Thank you, Phil. As a grammarian, I will be monitoring the microphone first and foremost. That would help, wouldn't it? Be nice to be heard. Well, I will be monitoring correct and incorrect uses of the English language and reporting on that. And yes, I was in Ireland a couple times. No, I did not kiss the Blarney Stone. They thought of hanging headfirst 5 stories above ground somehow did not appeal to me. I kind of valued my life. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe. Well, you missed a great thing, Joe, but you got a plenty of Blarney yourself. All right, let's go on. I think we've got a quote master. I've got to print his schedule here. So what I'm doing is I'm reading off of it. Mike Florio, quote master. What's your quote for today, Mike? Come on up.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and I don't see any guests, but as an Italian, we do some cement work, but I'm in the garbage business, so it's usually shoes. Now, when you go on the internet, there's really not a problem finding anything about Irish and St. Patrick's Day. I mean, everybody wants to say something about it. So I've got a few here. Okay. You've got to try your luck at least once a day because you could be going around lucky all day and not even know it. Jimmy Dean said that. Legend says that each leaf of a clover has a meaning. The first is hope. The second is faith. The third is love. And if you can find a 4-leaf clover, the 4th leaf represents luck. That's what the 4. And then finally, I'll leave you with this one. This is from Conan O'Brien. They say there are 2 kinds of people on St. Patrick's Day. The Irish and the people that drive them home. Mr. Toastmaster.
Oh, how true it is, Mike. How true it is. Been in that shape myself a few times. Thank God for the drivers. If no one else has a jest, I do. But it's more of a story. Why do they call them the Fighting Irish at Notre Dame? Why do they call the Irish the Fighting Irish? My theory is this. When the Celts came over, they fought their way across Europe. Came all the way across Europe, fighting everybody. They get to the islands. They conquer the islands. They're fighting everybody. Nobody else to fight. What do? They fight with themselves. Scots, Irish, you name it. They all fight with each other. It's just the way it is with Irish. All right. Now we have a timer to keep us on time. And that's Beth Banks. She stepped up and is our timer for today. Beth, could you tell us what's going to happen?
I always have to bring the book. I do not have these times memorized. Sorry, guys. So as timer, I will be recording the duration of table topics, prepared speeches, and evaluations, and report their results. Table topics is 1.5 to 2 minutes. 1 to 2. Somebody needs to fix this. 1 to 2 minutes, 15-second buffer. Okay. Most of the prepared speeches are 5 to 7 minutes. Please let me know if it's different with a 30-second buffer. And evaluations are 2 to 3 minutes with a 30-second buffer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Beth. Now, I have a little bit of housekeeping. There's a good off. We have a switch in the speaking roles. If it's not on the schedule, I'm going to tell it to you now. I had a request by Jill Roaring, Steve Smith. Maggie Craig will be number 1 speaker, but Steve will reverse with his tag team partner, Jill. What's going to happen is they've tag teamed before. Steve goes on first, Jill follows up. That's what's going to happen today. So evaluators, beware. Be awful aware of it because you never know what's going to come out of these two when they tag team. Whoa. Now, Bridget Newton. you are our quiz master. Come on down and tell us what your role is going to be.
Top of the day to you, my friends. Oh, Bridget she be. So I'll be quizzing you all today, seeing if you're listening, if your ears are piped up and ready to go. And if not, well, I don't know. That'll be it.
All right. Changing roles here is in a hat. You're speaking about a topic about the Irish. Well, Guinness. One thing you have to know about Guinness, very important thing to know. It's on the bottle. It says so right on the bottle. Guinness is good for you. Don't listen to anybody else. Guinness is good for you. All right. I see Sylvia's around. Sylvia's on Zoom with me. And Sylvia, I know you have some good questions ready to
I
ask.
do this
our-
morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Sylvia.
And with your Guinness hat, if anyone has Netflix, I recommend watching the series of Guinness. My gosh, it was about the owner, how Guinness began in 1864, I think the year is. And they made Kennedy and Hillary Clinton look like saints. It was a good series. I can't wait for season 2 to come out. It's just a little tidbit. So, as of St. Patrick's Day, I know we have gone through many meetings talking about the Irish, the Italians, what your favorite things is. But I decided, and I love your word today, Margot, Barney, because persuasion, this was what I would like people to do today, persuade us. Kate, would you please come on up and persuade us why we should try your favorite pizza place? And don't forget to use the word of the day, Kate or.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. Not full of blarney. What? I might need some groupthink on this. I like me this time of year, a Reuben pizza. Reuben pizza. You can make Reubens into anything, right? Reuben tacos, Reuben pizza, Reuben egg rolls. I don't understand. I like Avanti's heart-shaped pizza at Valentine's Day, and their veggie calzones are fantastic. There's an Avanti's in Medina and Albion. They're good. Woodburn's pizza. I don't know if I have any favorite places. I avoid it when I can because I love it so much. Then I would just be eating it all the time. There's a pizza place on every corner around here. There are more Italians. I don't want to admit that Italians have better food than Irish. It's a matter of location. I mean, you're up in the cold, like watery areas. There's a lot of seafood, at least, potatoes and cabbage, etc. I don't know. Favorite pizza. I have to persuade you to go to my favorite pizza place. Come to Avanti's with me, and it doesn't have to be Valentine's Day. We'll share a lot of blarney. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Kate,
I'll pass this out to the next.
Okay, stay up there for a second because I'm not sure. Is Zach in?
He is. Zach, come on up. I'll pass the lectern to him. I'll
Oh,
shake his hand.
no, thank you.
Are you ready to persuade us, Zach, better than I did? Now I want Reuben pizza.
Oh, sounds good. Sounds
Breakfast
good.
pizza. Yeah, there's good breakfast pizza places. All right, lectern is yours.
Zach, you were given $500,000 one day, but
Wow.
you only could, but you only could keep 250 of it, 50% of it. You have to give 250,000 to your favorite charity. What is your favorite charity? And persuade us to give to this charity.
Okay. Wow. $250,000 to any given charity of my choice.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, no blarney. I think I would probably have to go with something like the SPCA. Does that count as a charity?
Yes, it does.
I would go for, saving the animals. How many of you are animal lovers? Everyone raise your hands, right? Most people, you're not an animal lover? Oh, so Oh goodness. Yeah, I'm not much of a salesman, but everyone loves animals, right? Imagine a cute puppy who just really wants to come home with you. Um, it's just a tiny little puppy. You went to a yoga class where they're trying to sell the puppies. You guys ever hear of those things? The puppy yoga, yeah, goat yoga. You're at the class and this cute little puppy comes up to you and just selects you. He wants to do yoga with you and only you. And he asks you, of course, dogs can't speak, but $250,000 to the SPCA gets you all the puppies in the world. That's my pitch.
Thank you. Dave Licata, I saw you, little red sweater, I think there in the screen. Come on up, Dave. Dave, one day you woke up and you were in your favorite TV show. What is your favorite TV show and character you would be in that show?
Well, I'm afraid I'll have to give away my age. This is no Blarney. I would turn up as one of the corporals in the old series called You'll Never Get Rich, which became the Sergeant Bilko, and that was Phil Silvers. So it became the Phil Silvers show. And he had Henshaw was the tall, skinny corporal, and the other gentleman had an Italian last name, and he was actually my height, so I felt right at home with him. So it would be a pleasure to work with Phil Silvers because he was famous, started out in burlesque. He was indeed a top banana in burlesque. His theme song is, if you want to be a top banana, you got to start at the bottom of the bunch. So there's a lesson there for all of us. And he would tell jokes like this. The priest, the Irish priest there in the parish over in the old country county Cork, Father Donovan, and he sees Sean coming up the sidewalk, but he's never seen Sean so sad. Oh, Sean, what is it? You've never had such a sad demeanor. And he says, "Oh, Father, me dog died." Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that. You know, it was a great dog, Father. Yes, I know you were really fond of that dog. He said, "Well, I'd like to have a service for the dog." And I went, "Sean, we can't do a service for an animal. I'm sorry. You know, there's a Protestant church down the street. They might do it." "Oh, thank you for the tip, Father. Do you think 100 pounds would be enough?" And the priest said, "Sean, why didn't you tell me the dog was Catholic?" Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Can we have a timers report, Beth?
For time, all three qualified, Kate at 107, Zach at 106, and Dave at 157. So according to time, they're good.
Great. Margot for the word today.
Everybody used the word. Kate began and ended with the word, so she used it twice. So all three contestants did use the word Blarney.
Okay, Phil, back to you.
Thank you much. All right. Before I go on any further, I'm going to introduce our general evaluator, Mike Licata. He has graciously said that once we turn over the meeting to him to do his evaluation, that he might begin calling for the reports. Now, let's bring up Mike and tell us what you're going to do as a general evaluator. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and our soon-to-be new members. My job as the general evaluator be to evaluate the Toastmaster, the evaluators, and the overall tone of the meeting and report back towards the end of the meeting. And thank you. If you would like, I will call for the reports at the end of the meeting. Back to you,
Okay,
Mr.
well,
Toastmaster.
thank you. We'll do that at the very end. We'll decide, seeing how we're going along here. Now, I wanted to mention, before we get into the speaking portion and evaluation portion, who was St. Patrick? Well, St. Patrick, the story goes, he probably was not Irish. Might be Italian or Spanish. We don't know for sure. But he went over and converted the Irish, as it said, or the people that were in Ireland, to Catholicism, using the shamrock, hence the clover. Now, I want to read a little Irish blessing that portrays what St. Patrick was all about. This came from our good friend Jackie Kenny, good friend and Toastmaster Jackie Kenny. The Irish blessing: may the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rain fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Now that's who St. Patrick was. And we celebrate it. And I particularly my wife and I are starting. Well, we've already started. We went out to Big Mike's barbecue on the res across from the high school out there, Wheatfield, and got some corned beef and cabbage and some Reuben sandwiches. Oh, were they awesome. Smoked quail good beef. But we start on Saturday. We go to the parade in Youngstown, right at the Jug. The Jug is a famous old restaurant in Youngstown, right on Main Street. And the parade, it's not very long, but they get the reenactors from the fort. And the pipers come down, and then they come into the restaurant after they're done with the parade and play a few songs. It's a hoot and a lot of fun. Now, I don't want everybody to rush down there because we got to find our own seats at the table at the bar because it's a wonderful day. Then there's a lot of activities on Saturday. Some of them are with my old buddies, the AOH. Hang on a second. The AOH, Ancient Order of Hibernians. They were a group that was started a long time ago, and they were there so they were going to burn the churches in Philadelphia. And as one man said, the bishop said, you burn one Catholic church, I'll burn your whole city. And that's how they got their start. Talk about the Fighting Irish. Oh, I'll tell you what. All right, I have plenty of stories, but we're going to start off with a speech. And let's double check who our first evaluator is. Dave Jones, and he is evaluating Maggie Craig. And I believe Dave is in Zoom land with me. So Dave, could you talk to us about what Blarney Maggie Craig is going to throw at us? David Jones.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, and good morning, fellow Toastmasters. And I'm going to be talking Blarney about her speech because I don't have a lot on it. We don't have a pathway, but I have a feeling there might be some singing in her speech, as it's called slip sliding in a way. And that's what I have. I believe it's probably 5 to 7 minutes, Mr. Toastmaster or timer. And Maggie Craig, slip sliding in a way.
It's on already? Is it on? Okay. Before I start, thank you, Dave. I put it on. I'm so sorry. I bet I didn't hit save. So I just want to say, because it's a little important to me, I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to see, and this is one of the reasons. I'm going to be doing this in the competition this weekend. And I've made some recent changes and I'm not sure about the timing. And so I wanted to try out the timing. I wanted to try out the headset. And also for those of you who have heard it before, maybe if you tell me if I made it better or worse. Also, apparently I did not make a mistake uh, not wearing green today because I'm a Scot. And apparently the Scots do not wear green on, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Apparently the Scots, who are full of blarney, do not wear green on St. Patrick's Day. They wear orange. Orange with their little things hanging out. All right. I'll take a second to breathe. Soon, I will turn 65. 65. And I will turn 65 on the very day of the district competition. And on that day, I will stand on a Toastmaster stage asking judges to decide if my thinking is clear, my message coherent, my mind present, and my pauses intentional. That timing of sharpening questions. There are mornings lately that I stand at the top of the stairs and hesitate. Not because I've forgotten how to walk down them, but because that hesitation has started turning up elsewhere. Forgetting mid-sentence what I'm talking about. Panicking, then admitting defeat. Forgetting names. Not of acquaintances, of friends. Recently, I was at an industry event. A colleague of mine was walking towards me. I had worked beside this guy every single day for a year. His name was not there. As he walked towards me, he waited for the greeting that should have come easily. It did not. I knew his name. He knew I knew it. But he knew I did not know it. And then things got worse because the person I was speaking with turned to me, clearly waiting for an introduction. Nothing. Air. Thanks. Then my colleague reached out his hand and said, "Hi, I'm Mark." And I was left wondering if my brain had popped the clutch. When moments like that start stacking up, especially before a milestone birthday, your brain doesn't ask gently. It asks bluntly, is this normal? Or am I slipping into a quiet non-existence? Fear. All right, boys. Fear is right there in my head. Faced with an uncomfortable, unsettling question, I did what we all do. Googled. And that's when I came across a phrase that stopped me cold. Brain diabetes. Don't reach for your phones. You can Google it later. If you remember. Not a diagnosis, not something that your doctor tests for, just a metaphor that describes a brain that isn't using energy as efficiently as it once did. And fear loved that phrase. Fear didn't argue. It tightened. I felt myself slipping. Fear was loud, but it wasn't in charge. I've always been a doer. So I went looking for something to do. What I discovered. What I needed wasn't a miracle. It was consistency. Steady signals that say, you're fueled, you're safe, you're supported. I stopped looking for symptoms and started noticing patterns. On day when I missed a meal, my thinking frayed. On days when coffee replaced water, my patience thinned. On days when wine replaced rest, clarity paid the price. This wasn't decline, this was feedback. And feedback is very different from prophecy. Fear says you're losing something. Feedback says adjust here, so I adjusted. I drank water instead of caffeine. I ate to stay steady. I slept when I needed rest because sleep matters. And most important, I stopped treating every fog rain day as a verdict. It's just weather, and weather passes. Fear wants you to choose to treat every pause, every lapse, every forgotten word as proof that the staircase is slippery. Resilience teaches us to check the handrail before we panic. Now, when I stand at the top of the stairs, I smile. Not because I'm fearless, but because I understand my system better. And that understanding has given me my footing back. I don't need to control the future. I just need to support the present. Because the brain isn't, and I'm sorry, this is staircase. And when you teach it that way, with rhythm and grace and nourishment, the staircase stops looking like something slippery and starts looking like something I am still capable of walking down. The staircase didn't change. I did. And I'm still walking down them, one sure step at a time.
Thank you. All right. Now, one of the things that I picked up through the years, in Alcott, they have a Pirates Weekend. They started it at the Yacht Club in Alcott, and it's turned into a fireman's picnic, fireman's field day, if you will. And I picked up this hat, which was quite appropriate. The Irish Pirates. You pick up these bits and pieces of clothing and everything else that goes with St. Patrick's Day. My wife especially likes to pick out things. She got a nice shirt here for me. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh. It's shamrocks, and it's got the Buffalo Bills symbol on it. Knowing that I'm half Irish and half nuts, as my sister would say. Well, that's another story. I'll tell it to you afterwards. My sister Lisa, oh God, in second grade with the nuns, what she said. Oh my goodness. All right, let's move on to our second speaker. Now, I hope the evaluators have sorted this out. Jill texted me and asked me if she could go on second and Steve go on before her. And I admitted that it would be good to do. So they tag teamed, and the first person out is going to be Steve Smith, evaluated by, I believe it's Carol Ann. I thought I saw Carol Ann going up there to the lectern to get ready to evaluate. And it is. Have your way, Carol Ann.
I just wanted to mention, I know Dave Licata has a thing about the lectern being left empty, and that's happened several times today. I am evaluating Stephen Smith. He is working on level 3 of the humorous pathway. His speech is 5 to 7 minutes. And the purpose of this is to determine his style of humor and apply it to a speech that centers around a central message. The speech title is St. Patrick's Day Doesn't Have to Be on the 17th. Steve.
Thank you. That is the title of my speech. I'll explain why as I launch into this. Every year, for more years than I care to think about, I have done a corned beef and cabbage, and thank you for mentioning it, Phil, corned beef and cabbage feed for St. Patrick's Day. Now, I know corned beef and cabbage isn't traditional Irish food, so I'm told. I don't care. I like it. And interestingly enough, I have at least 2 people I can name that said they didn't like corned beef till they had it the way I make it. And one of them's Jill. Well, there's a few secrets to this. One is the cut of beef you use. Use around. It's far and away a better cut than a brisket. A lot less fat. My other little secret is I roast them in the oven, put them in a pan, cover them with foil, roast them for several hours before I put it in a pot with all the other goodies. That serves 2 purposes. It makes sure the meat is done. And secondly, gets rid of a lot of that fat that you don't need. I don't care what anybody says. So while the meat's roasting, that's when I chop up all the goodies, the carrots, the potatoes, the onions, and I throw some celery in there. Now that's definitely not traditional, but I like the flavor it imparts. So I put all that in there. Most importantly, I add some white wine to it. And there's exact proportions for this. 1 cup goes in the chef and the rest of the bottle goes in the pot. Because nobody likes sober cabbage, so I'm told. So I've got this big pot full of it. I'm talking a big pot. I got like 20 quart, I believe it is, stock pot full, and it is full when I get done with all this, and it is heavy. But timing is everything. I cooked the corned beef in the oven. While that's doing, I get the vegetables ready. So now I got this big pot full of stuff just simmering away on the stove for at least an hour. Now, while that's going on, I make a traditional Irish bread, soda bread. And I've got a problem with that too. Traditionally, you're supposed to use currants. For the last 3-4 years anyway, I can't find currants. They don't exist. So it was deemed permissible to substitute raisins, and I've been using raisins, and it turns out quite well. And again, I make 2 loaves, one for the party, one for me. Also, I like to do plenty of corned beef because I like to have extra corned beef because what's left over, I grind that up, make corned beef hash. And it's actually quite easy because the potatoes, the leftover, some onions left over, I threw that all through the meat grinder, get it all the same consistency, and I make these wonderful, I call it a patty because I like to spread it out thin in the frying pan so you get a nice little browning on it. So you can't be in a hurry, low and slow. The other part of the corned beef is when I went out to look for it, it was going for something on the order of $12.99 a pound. Now, I'm not going to repeat what I said when I saw that price, but it wasn't fine price. So thanks, Tops. I'll give Marty a plug here. Thanks to Tops, they put it on sale with a coupon for $5.99 a pound. That's less than half. So I bought a 5-pound round. I'm serious about this. Beautiful piece of meat. Now, the big problem with all this becomes, when do we do this? That's when I get to the meat of this matter here. I don't worry too much about the date, the 17th, because we can't hit that. I like to do it a weekend close. That doesn't work either. This weekend, starting today, is Plantasia up in Hamburg. We'll be going to that from now till the rest of the weekend. Next weekend, we're taking off to Hosta College, which is in Ohio, for the weekend. We're running out of days in March here. So we have set the date for this feed, Saturday, March 28th. So Phil, you'll like this. It means party all month long. Who cares? And we're setting it for around 5 o'clock because the Sabres happen to be playing that day. So this is kind of a throw out invite to anybody that wants to come down, have a nice corned beef feed and watch the Sabres play. We'll be down there on the 28th. Now the other facet, get my toy out here. You have to serve a traditional black and tan with this. Now I just grabbed a coffee cup here. Now isn't it an appropriate color for this? I have this little toy here called a turtle for making black and tans. See, his jaw is actually a bottle opener. But more importantly, and you have to use harp lager for this, you pour the harp lager in the cup, slap the turtle on like that. Then it makes it very easy to float the Guinness over top of that to fill the glass up, making a perfect black and tan. Now, if you want to get fancy, there's another great Irish beer called Smithwick. Now, Smithwick, I know how it's spelled, and it's pronounced Smithwick. Now, if you use Smithwick as the base of your black and tan, it becomes a blacksmith. I didn't make that up. So, and of course, after you make a few of these, this gets kind of sloppy, but they're good. So we do this big feed every. Whoop, I'm throwing things around. So we do this big feed every year, and there's always a hassle. We got to get our schedules out. What weekend is open? When can we do this? And as I say, we settled on the 28th. Oh, I think I've covered everything I want to cover here. And that was my big pitch to invite everybody down for corned beef and cabbage. And I know it's not traditional, and I don't care. Come on down and enjoy the good time. It's an open invite to anybody. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Steve. Now, getting back to Saturday, the AOH. The reason I mentioned that is after I go to the jug for some Reuben egg rolls, ooh, wow, and a little Guinness, we go to Niagara Falls for an AOH party at the convention center. And it's quite the fair, I hear. Never been there before. But I had never been to the Youngstown Parade, and that is one of the finest parades on earth, simply because it's very short. Get right back inside, or you can watch it from the window if it's very inclement. And my sister Lisa. See, the other side, I'm half Irish and half German. And in Lockport, it was either the Irish married the Germans or the Italians, and that's the way it went. And Lisa was in second grade, and they were going around asking what nationality you were. The nun was there. So Lisa gets up and says, I'm half Irish and half nuts. Nun went, what? Go home and check with your mother. My mother was livid. My father used to always say that. You kids are all half Irish and half nuts. So she repeated what Grandpa said. Oh, God, my father said, oh, it was funny. Now, we have our next part of the tag team going on number 2, and she will be evaluated by Larry McKenzie. Oh, Larry McKenzie, you get up here and tell us what's going to happen.
Shouldn't be glory, me lad. I'm here today to evaluate Jill Roaring. Jill will be working from the Presentation Mastery Level 3. The rest of the story, Jill Roaring. The rest of the story, Jill Roaring.
Now I find it interesting. I did not tell Phil that we were tag teaming. He just assumed that. But we are. Okay. Steve just told you his story about St. Patrick's Day and all of his blarney. And as you have heard, this is a long-standing tradition of entertaining for him. But unlike Halloween, I've had very little impact on St. Patrick's Day. In fact, like he said, I'm not a real fan of corned beef. So here we go. 2013 was my first St. Patrick's Day with Steve. The day was also a little bit of a conundrum for him because he had a deck meeting. He was an area governor that year. He had a deck meeting in Waterloo. So it turned into my job to go down to the house and put the corned beef in the oven for the initial roasting. I think the pan was bigger than this. And at that time, he was doing 2 roasts. So you're looking at about 10 pounds of meat, plus a bunch of water in the pan too, that I had to take out of the refrigerator and get it into the oven. Thank you, Larry. I managed. Of course, there was one other job while I was there. I had to feed Queen Bonnie. She was a demanding cat whenever the refrigerator was opened. So I completed the task, left and came back later for the feast. I helped Steve carry out his giant pan and the soda bread and everything else that went along with it. But when it came time to actually do the eating, I did what any dutiful hostess would do. And I waited for everybody else to serve themselves before I dug in. And they kept digging. Because when I had to get there and keep digging, there was almost nothing left in the pot to eat. There was corned beef, of course, but as I've said, I'm not gonna make a meal on corned beef. But there was very little potatoes or carrots. I mean, the celery doesn't really exist because it just melts down into nothing. And the onions the same. And even the drunk cabbage was gone. But I survived. I ate some of the soda bread. And I had a little bit to drink, not too much because I don't like the beer. I'm not a beer drinker. But now I've been to 2 big celebrations at Steve's house, Halloween and St. Patrick's Day. And I've had a 2 for 2. Two times I went there expecting to eat, and 2 times I didn't. Because the first time, Steve's friend Ralph brought chili. And Ralph, it turns out, has no concept of what makes chili hot. And at that time, he still started out with hot Italian sausage, hot chili pepper flakes, about a half a jar of chili powder. Yeah, I looked at the faces right now. At that time, I had like 2 bites of it and it was like, ew. So I didn't eat much of that meal either. So we'll go back to St. Patrick's Day. I still don't help much with these St. Patrick's Day meals. I pretty much stay out of the way. Although I did tell Steve I'll peel the carrots this year because he wanted to buy the little bagged carrots. But I told him no, the other ones are buy one, get one free. So I agreed to peel them for that purpose. And well, that's pretty much the rest of the story. It is St. Patrick's Day. The cabbage won't be sober, and probably a few people won't be either. But as Steve said, you're all welcome to come down on the 28th for an extended St. Patrick's Day. The one thing I ask, if possible, try and give us a little heads up on the count. I'm not going to hold you to an RSVP, but we would love to have more people come because we're going to go buy another roast today or tomorrow. And if we don't need to cook it, we'll put it in the freezer. So that's our St. Patrick's Day. And I hope you all enjoy it with a tip of my cap. Thank you.
Thank you much, Jill.
Oh,
Now,
one last thing. It's not part of the speech, but did anybody notice that Steve's name tag was quite askew? He's already started.
all right. Now, when it comes to the Irish and taverns, we went to Wisconsin for a business trip with Chris. And in Madison, Wisconsin, we found an Irish pub. And of course, there was a green hat there that I could not get, but what they're famous for in Madison, Wisconsin is old fashions because you have to go to the different pubs and test who has the best one. And I did a little bit of that. Now, on Sunday is the big Buffalo Irish Parade. That's traditional. Saturday is the Old First Ward Parade. I did that once. It's worth it. Not marching in it. I did march in the big one on Sunday, not this year. The Old First Ward, my best one there was we watched it from the barrel factory up in the second floor where the bar was. And we watched the end of the parade, the Old First Ward, out of the window, and it was a hoot. And the whole parade is a hoot in the Old First Ward. It's better than the big one. And then, after that, you try to get down the stairs as best you can without falling and wander over to my one famous little pub out of the Old First Ward, Shane McCarthy's. Don't go there on St. Patrick's Day. We'll try to get there probably on Monday when we hit the Old First Ward because there's a few places and it's fun. But you go early. You don't want to get tangled up at night because you'll never get out of there. It's quite the experience, let me tell you. And then I'll finish up later with after the evaluators with what we do on St. Patrick's Day itself. Oh, I have to mention another shirt we picked up. Notre Dame, their colors are not green. They're blue and white. But they do dress in green for the Fighting Irish. All right. Let's start on with our evaluators. I'm assuming, and I don't want to assume too much,
Bill,
that our
I'm
evaluators
going
are.
to give the timers report.
Oh, timers report. Glad somebody piped up. Timers report.
Everyone qualified. Maggie at 7:26. Steve, I have to admit, I did not start the time right away, so it's about 5:45, roughly. And Jill at 6:32. So everyone qualifies. Thank you.
All right. I get my Blarney going, and that interrupts everything. So we got the timers reported, and I'm glad Beth piped up because it's important to do that. Now, let's start off with, let me just take a peek here. Who are our evaluators? Our first evaluator is David Jones. David, could you evaluate Maggie Craig? David Jones.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, once again, and good morning, everybody. I've had my coffee. I'm ready to go. Maggie, just for perspective, as part of the trio, I've heard hundreds of international speeches. This year alone, I've heard about 30. That's kind of where I'm going with my evaluation this morning. Now, first, I did what many of these speakers don't do. You practice. You practice your mic, your speaking area in front of an audience. So that's a good start. You had good hand gestures. Your pace and pauses were good. I know that was part of what you were looking for. And overall, the speech has good bones. However, you need to have a few tweaks. In the beginning, it was hard to hear you. I believe that maybe since you have a microphone, you thought you could speak lower, but the microphone picks up what you're doing. Therefore, as you spoke louder or lower, not wanting to be too loud, it was very hard to hear you. I mean, I was literally sitting like this as you were speaking for a while. And you struggled a lot with the mic. I think that will go to practice. I don't know if the mic was too big, but you kept fiddling with it, which is a distraction for the audience. And we're now more focused on you and the mic than what you're saying. And I might have missed some of what you were saying because of that. So just practice that the best you can, because I know everybody has to use a mic in the bigger contest. And finally, your start was a little slow. You have to grab this. It's not a movie where you're going to give the backstory. You only have 5 to 7 minutes. And I was struggling to understand where you were going with this speech. But once you got to the middle and end, it was good. The closing was good. But just, you got to get us at the start. You have to have a stronger jump and louder. And you came in at 7:26. That's a big yikes. That's way too close in a speech contest because 7:31, 5 more seconds, you're out. Let me see. And the singing. Now, I know your speaking style, and I thought for sure you were going to do a little singing. And the singing would let us know that your brain hasn't popped a clutch. Kind of do a little sing and song. But the most important thing of singing, slip sliding away, is to reference Paul Simon, because that is international level. I've seen people get disqualified for not referencing. The other night we had one where the guy said free at last, then got him free at last, and he sat down and he didn't reference Martin Luther King, and out he went. So always make sure you reference. But other than that, I appreciate you practicing the speech. This is a place to do it, and I'm glad that you did it, because that's the way to get better and just to be ready for your speech. So good job. Back to you, Mr. Phil.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, David. Our second evaluator, and that's where my Blarney has to come in, because I look at it and Larry was supposed to be second evaluator, but we flip-flopped. Everybody flip-flopped, and that's okay. I'm glad the evaluators took the prerogative, go ahead and talk with their speakers so that they could evaluate. And that's so important that our evaluators check with our speakers so that they can evaluate them properly. Let's go to our second evaluator, which is Carol Ann Halstead. Carol, come on up.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. Today I had the privilege of evaluating Steve. He's doing the humorous path. He was certainly dressed for the occasion if he's talking about the appropriate dish for St. Patrick's Day, corned beef and cabbage. He had good eye contact, quite a few gestures. He had some props. And his title, which was why St. Patrick's Day doesn't have to be on the 17th. He very well explained the fact of all the other things going on, particularly on weekends. So you have the dinner when it's most appropriate. I know our dinner usually varies from that date. The one thing, he's on the humor path, and to me, it was very informative, but I didn't really laugh out loud. However, he kind of tag teamed with Jill, and she added the humor to the story. I think the one thing, he speaks very clearly with the vocal variety. I mentioned the gestures. He's very comfortable speaking. You can tell he enjoys telling us his stories, and made it very interesting. I think he does, I kind of noted that he kind of rocks back and forth a little bit when he speaks, and he kind of comes toward the mic and back a bit, is what I noticed. But it was, and maybe when he dropped the one prop, which I'm not sure, maybe you did have to use it after that, but sometimes that's distracting if you stop to pick something up. However, I think he whetted our appetites for corned beef and cabbage, and it was, like I said, quite informative, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Carol Ann. Our third and last evaluator, evaluating Jill Roaring, is Larry McKenzie. Come on down, Larry.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. This morning, I had the pleasure of listening to not only one speech, but piggyback speech with Jill and Steve. My task was to evaluate Jill's speech. Jill was working on Presentation Mastery Level 3, and the purpose of her speech was to create a speech using visual aids effectively within your speech. Today, Jill, you did that. You had a couple of props, which piggybacked actually on Steve's, because you let us know that's the pot that he uses. And as such, so you incorporated two props. We won't count the hat because that wasn't part of the speech. But thank you for wearing that for the theme of the day. Your props did work well into your speech. One of the things that I would say, though, is that from my perspective as your evaluator, was that your speech, the content, I think you had all of your content prepared, but I wasn't quite sure at certain points where you were going with parts of your speech. So the structure perhaps was something that maybe you could work on a little bit, with taking all of those notes of what you were going to say, formulate them, and eliminate some of the fluff words, I guess would be the best way of saying that. Because one of the things that I did pick up on that you used was, well, that's pretty much the end of the story. At that point, were you done? I mean, or was there more? And then you continued on with a PSA announcement, which was the invite. That was very smooth. The way that you felt very comfortable inviting everyone to the house for the 28th for the party. I thought that worked quite well. You were very comfortable with that. Now, I remember one of the very first times you spoke at Tom's Diner. You were very apprehensive about coming up to the lectern. You've progressed immensely since then. And I give you kudos for that, because it seems like you work very hard at putting together every speech that I've heard. And today is one of the very first times I've had a chance to evaluate you. And with that, I would say that one of the things that I would say that you should work on would be the structure of your speech, formulating it a little bit better to make it cohesive throughout. and work on practicing your speech to make sure that it flows smoothly and eliminate some of the filler words within that. All in all, Jill, I hope that I get an opportunity to evaluate you again, because I see the progress that you're making within the Toastmasters family and with your speeches. So thank you today for your speech, and you did quite well with your use of the objective of your speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. In a moment, we better get a timer's report. Let's go to Beth Banks to start off with that timer's report. Beth, are you ready?
I'm ready. All three of our evaluators qualified. David at 251, Carol Ann at 246, and Larry at 302. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Beth. All right, now on to the actual St. Patrick's Day. What we do, if you remember my story about the Ancient Order of Hibernians, the AOH, and guarding the churches, on St. Patrick's Day at 11:30, we guard the church in honor of what happened back in Philadelphia. Then there's Mass at noon. And then we have a little parade down to the rock. That's a rock, just a rock. And on the, excuse me, got to do my vote. Little rock on the edge of the canal, on the south side of the canal, and we place a wreath on it and say a prayer for all those that dug the canal. And there were some tragic stories because the canal was not easy to build, to dig, build. It was, a lot of people died there. Then, after the parade, we parade right over to the Niagara Hotel, an important place in Irish history for canalers. Then off to Groff's. It wouldn't be a proper St. Patrick's Day without Groff's. And then for dinner at the Seamus, and you need reservations. If you haven't made them by now, you probably won't get them. And it's a lot of fun over there because I see a lot of old friends that I haven't seen probably since the year before. Now I'm going to move into the evaluation part of our meeting. And I am going to let Michael, because you heard enough of my Blarney. And my Blarney is done with. And we'll turn over to Michael Licata, who himself, I know, has some Blarney because he's part Irish, you know. You know, there's a Conlin in him. And it goes back. So, Michael, have it your way and give us all your Blarney.
Thank you again, Mr. Toastmaster. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and our guests. Phil, I want to commend you on the theme this morning. I'm very glad the schedule worked out that you could be our Toastmaster this morning. I have to say your props were tremendous. The changing and wearing of many hats this morning was very, very well done, along with your shirts and your story. So I want to commend you on doing such a great job. I also want to commend you on making sure that all the roles were filled. You did some quick thinking on your feet and filling a request for different changes, including the speakers. And I know you needed a timer sort of last minute, so you did a tremendous job this morning. With that, we have three very experienced evaluators this morning that all attempted some version of the sandwich approach, which is starting off with a positive, filling it in with improvement, and then finishing on a positive, good note. I would say, Phil, I'm not going to ding you for leaving the lectern unmanned. I know that we're still, even after all these years, getting adjusted to Zoom and in person, these hybrid meetings. I want to give credit to Len. We always try to do that at least every meeting. He does a great job of making sure that transitions are seamless, especially for the people online. I not gonna everything else worked out really well this morning. And with that, I will start with Bridget this morning with our quiz, and then we'll get everything rolling. Bridget Newton this morning is our quiz master.
So I'm not going to give you much blarney. Well, maybe I am. But anywho, so for the quizzes today, I hope you are listening well. First of all, Phil mentioned one of his ancestors who went to Hitler. Do you remember what that ancestor's name was? Sean Russell, yes. A four-leaf clover. What do each of the I'm seeing some faith, hope, love, luck. Yes, very good. You know, the true Irishmen's in the crowd. Yes. All right, I have three more questions. Maggie, how old will she be?
65.
60. Just a wee cherub. Oh, it's a brain diabetes, eh? Okay. Steve mentioned a type of black and tan called a blacksmith. Smittix, correct. It is not Smith Wicks, it's Smittix, and it's my favorite. But that's not a question. Yes, they do. They have it at the Niagara Celtic Festival as well. Yes. The last question. Where else do we find beer? No. The last question was, does Jill actually like corned beef?
No. When is that left over so that you can get some?
Right. Very true. Thank you very much for your answers and listening well today. Thank you.
Thank you, Bridget. And I will call up Jim Sacco, our master this morning.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Before I give my report, can I give just a discussion about brain diabetes, an event that happened to me we didn't mention the Shamrock Run, which was last weekend, in the old First Ward, which was mentioned by our Toastmaster. I was filmed on Channel 4, and at the beginning of the race, somebody said I had my 2 seconds of fame, but I said, "Oh yeah, I was wearing my black sweatshirt from the 40-year anniversary." I said, "No, you're wearing green." And I looked at it. I saw it online. My cousin sent it to me, and yeah, that's right. I did take off the sweatshirt, and I was wearing green. But for a day, I just forgot that I was wearing that. So, but that happens, and so I just want to say that. And of course, now we did well with the Oz today, except for me. But most of the people only got a couple of Oz. I know Phil, you had a couple of them, and it was great with the presentation you did for the whole meeting, all the changes you did. During table topics, Kate, you had a couple. Zach, you had about 2 or 3, and Dave, you had a couple, and that was good. So after my 5th one, Steve had one, and Jill had a couple, and Carol, you had a few more than that. Okay, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. And I'm going to go a little bit out of order because our grammarian is closing the meeting. So I will go next to Margot. How did Blarney do this morning?
Blarney was actually used about 18 times. And I'm saying about because there are a couple people who sort of stuttered on the word. But I will also qualify those who use the word Blarney, not by actually saying it, by being filled with Blarney. And to end my report, I would like to invite everyone for some Reuben soup at the winery this coming Sunday. That's how we are celebrating St. Patrick's Day. So as you go through today, try to use the word Blarney a couple of times. And if not today, then I would suggest that you do that on St. Patrick's Day itself when we're all filled with a little bit of Blarney. Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Margot. And I will call up Joe Budnick, our club president and our grammarian this morning.
Everybody did very good today. Everyone was very well spoken and very articulate. Beth, you're always very well spoken. It must be that teacher in you. Now, when I'm in school, I try to be well spoken too and speaking to the kids, but a lot of them have what's called selective hearing. We all know what that is. Bridget, you nailed the Irish accent. Commendable. A couple times I caught something instead of something, ta instead of to, talking, nothing instead of talking, nothing. We all do it. I do it too. But other than that, everyone did a fine job speaking. Very good examples of the English language. Good job, people. Thank you.
Phil, did you want to announce the winners? Did you check your phone? Did you want to announce it or do you want me to do it? Or you're muted, sorry. We have some time.
I would prefer that you do it because you're right there.
Okay.
If you would, please.
All right.
Thank you.
No problem. Thanks, Phil. Our best table topic speaker this morning is Zach. Our best evaluator this morning is Larry McKenzie. Did you want a ribbon? We have ribbons. We have evaluator ribbons. We have table topics ribbons. We don't have the other ones. Thank you. And our best speaker this morning is Steve Smith. There's no ribbons because I have to order some, but I'm sorry. But if you want to come pick the winner, I really appreciate it. Or not.
That was your number. We threw it out.
There you go, my friend.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Last three numbers. You know, where's he hear me? 1, 7, 8. I was 179.
Sorry for anyone online. Yeah, yep, they're both the same. Sorry, we're waiting. We're killing time. We're waiting for Kate to collect the second chance tickets, and we'll have our club president draw. Well, put it. Yeah, let's do it the right way.
There's something in.
Those are from today. Oh crap! Excuse me. Thank you for the delay. Sorry about that. Thank you for waiting. All right, Joe.
Wait a minute, I got one from last week.
Joe, you got a Mr. President gets the poll for the second. So this is our second chance wrong. We do it every 6 months for our dues. So I'll pick that up later.
Everything on the floor.
No, you're good.
You can see that I'm completely unbiased here.
6 months dues. Is it on other side? Other side. Nobody wrote on it? Is it
Oh,
really?
here we go. I got it.
No. Nobody wrote on the back.
Nope.
All right. Pull another one. Yeah.
Yeah, your odds go way up when you do.
Like it is a second. It's third chance. All right.
Margot.
Margot won the dues. So.
So that means I only have to pay for 4 people instead of 5.
Yeah, professional development.
Do you know the Toastmaster is next? I don't have the schedule. Okay, so Mary is our Toastmaster next week. It is her theme is National Backyard Day, And then I will let Joe.
We have speakers Lester, Mike Licata, and Mike Florio.
So does anyone have any announcements? Okay. Okay, Katie?
I know we are short on time though. Len just said we have who are our speakers, Les and,
We have Les, Mike Licata, and Mike Florio.
okay, heads up, you are speakers next week. Les and Mike and Mike. And breakfast, I'm guessing, probably at Olive Leaf. Yeah. Okay. And contest this Saturday. Oh, contest this Saturday, Buff State, Bulger Hall. If you need to carpool, let me know. And we are collecting the questionnaires about pathways. Can you email that to our membership also so anybody zooming in can have a chance to answer the questionnaire about pathways so we can give feedback to Toastmasters International? And that is it for announcements from me. Anybody else? Anybody else? Last chance?
With that, with the drawing today, I do want to make the announcement that dues are due by the end of the month. It is $66. We haven't raised the dues in a little bit, but we'll take checks. There is PayPal through our website too. And with that, I will. Sorry. Yeah, well, we're right on time.